With the January transfer window approaching, in today's video we are going to be discussing 5 players who could potentially leave Bradford City in this upcoming transfer window. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you go trying to 80 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are now on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts in on these 5 players that I do go on to discuss in the comment section down below, and also maybe suggest some other players who could also potentially leave the club. Now, we all know Bradford City's squad is absolutely massive. We need to get at least probably 5, 6, 7 players out the door before we even consider signing anybody. Our squad is massive. We've got a number of players out on loan as well who probably will be recalled. I think Jake Young is almost a guarantee to come back to the football club. I would be surprised if Ryan East didn't return as well. And then I'm not really too sure how Timmy Odesina is getting on at Woking, but I believe that was only a short-term loan anyway, so I'm pretty sure he will return in January. Luke Kendry's still on the books at the football club, but currently out on loan. I'm sure there's probably an option to recall him in his contract, because obviously we know Daniel Yagoki is going to be out for a long time. So lots of spinning plates, lots of things that could happen in the January transfer window. But make sure to drop a like on there for me, subscribe if you're new as well, and let's get into it. Channel memberships are now cheaper than ever, with tier 1 costing just 99p. Tier 2 has been reduced from $3.99 a month down to $1.99 a month, and tier 3 has been reduced from $8.99 a month down to just $4.99 a month. Your support as always is massively appreciated, and the more members that we have, the better the content will be. Enjoy the rest of the video. Now, for every player there is a number of different reasons why I may have suggested them for today's video, and they are all obviously in a completely random order. But starting out then with player number 1, I have gone with Matt Derbyshire. Now, he's out of contract in the summer coming up. He's 37 years of age. He's only made the 1 start in the league for us so far this season, and I'll be very surprised if he is a Bradford City player come the end of January. Obviously, we signed him last January. He was meant to come in last summer as well under Mark Hughes. Obviously, Mark Hughes and Matt Derbyshire had a pretty good relationship, but Derbyshire, it's just never really worked out for Bradford City, as many predicted. And I think with Jake Young coming back in January, there's going to be at least 4 strikers ahead of him, and I just don't really see where he does fit in. I mean, he couldn't even get in on the bench when Oliver was injured, so now that he's back fit and available, I just don't see where Derbyshire is going to get any game time. I think them wages could definitely be spent better. I think under Graham Alexander, he's made just the 1 substitute appearance. That was in Alexander's first game at home to Barrow. He came on for like the last 10-15 minutes. Since then, hasn't been involved in the matchday squad. Like I say, 7 appearances for him so far this season, just the 1 start, obviously no goals and no assists. In terms of last season, he made 11 appearances, 3 starts, scoring 1 goal in the league, and then also 1 in the playoffs as well, and he got 1 assist. It was a very good goal in the league, you know, great goal away at Stevenage, and obviously he scored in the playoff semi-final second leg against Carlisle, but he's just not good enough basically anymore. And with the age that he's at, the contract situation, the fact that he's out of a deal in the summer coming up, if we can get any sort of money in for him, that will be obviously very nice. I wouldn't anticipate him being on very high wages, but they're still wages that we're just pointlessly paying, because we all know he's not good enough. He's never going to play. He's going to be 5th, maybe even 6th choice striker come the end of January, so it makes sense really for all parties for him to move on, and I really do think it would be for the best. So Matt Derbyshire is the first player I think could leave Bradford City this January transfer window. Into player number 2 then, and I have gone with Adam Wilson. Now, this should be definitely a loan for me. Absolutely no way should this be a permanent transfer, but I think Adam Wilson, he needs to go out and get game time, and he doesn't fit into Alexander's system at this moment in time. We was playing with wing backs and no wingers. Adam Wilson is a winger. He's a natural winger. He's a pretty good winger as well, but for me personally, I think he needs to go out on loan and get game time, whether that's in League 2 or the National League. I do think he needs to go out and play regularly in his position, because I do think there's a very good player in there. He's very direct, scored a brilliant goal against Wrexham as well a couple of weeks ago, but since Alexander's come in, his minutes have been very, very limited. You know, he came on in the first 2 games as a substitute against Barrow and also Notts County. He featured in the EFL Trophy game against Barnsley, playing at left wing back for like the last 10 minutes, and he just doesn't really fit into Alexander's system. And obviously we've signed him on a long-term contract. I believe he's here until the summer of 2026. So far for us, has made 8 appearances, 4 starts in the league, 1 goal for him, which was obviously that goal against Wrexham. And like I say, young player at just 23 years of age, still lots of time for him to grow and develop. But for now, I think the best move for all parties would be a loan move for Adam Wilson, to go out and let him play regularly, because I think as a right winger, where he's cutting in on the left foot, he can certainly be very dangerous. Sometimes his decision making isn't the greatest. Sometimes he might hold on to the ball too long. Sometimes he might shoot when he should pass, and I think obviously that comes with regular game time, and he's not going to get that at Bradford City. He's struggling really to get in the matchday squads as of recently, and there's so much competition in them attacking areas, and especially with us not playing with natural wingers at this moment in time, I do think it does make sense really for all parties for Adam Wilson to depart the club on loan though. Definitely not permanently, because I'm a big fan of Wilson. I just don't really see where he fits in at this moment in time, and obviously he needs game time. Player number 3 then, it might be slightly controversial, but I've gone with Sam Stubs. Obviously recently has found himself struggling to find his way into the side, and his performances so far this season haven't been the same as what they were last season. Obviously, we signed him last January on a permanent deal from Exeter on an 18-month contract. So he is another one of these players who is out of contract in the summer coming up. And while last season he was absolutely fantastic, he was solid in there. And while he came in and was apparently injury prone, I don't think he's actually missed a game for us yet. So that tells you, his injuries are behind him now. But for me personally, Sam Stubs, he's not getting into the team at this moment in time. And whether that's deserved or not, I'm not really too sure, but I don't really see how he fits into this current system, because it's clear that Alexander is a big fan of Ash Taylor, and Matty Platt's been playing well recently. Kieran Kelly's not been too bad. Jonathan Tompkinson has impressed in his minutes so far. We've also got Timmy Odesina returning in January, so we're going to have 6 centre-halves. Don't forget, Timmy Odesina was very, very good in pre-season just gone by. He looked really well in that back three, but Stubs, for me, I just don't really see how he fits in, because he definitely is too slow to play as a wide side centre-half, and he's not getting in at the moment to play as that central centre-half. And I think if I was Sam Stubs, I would potentially be asking, if I'm not playing regular football, at the age that I'm at in my career now, I think he's 25, 26, he's going to want to be playing week in, week out. He's not just going to be happy to sit on the bench, and especially in a position like a centre-half, it's not really one of them positions that you make a substitution for just for the sake of it, really. You only really make a substitution at centre-half if there's an injury, or maybe you get a red card. Like the last 2 matches, obviously, he was on for maybe 4 or 5 minutes in the league against Forest Green when Ash Taylor got sent off. He came on for like the last 5 or 10 minutes against Accrington. I think when, Kieran Kelly went down with some sort of cramp injury, and I do think Sam Stubs is a very good player, but you've got to think about the footballer and his long-term contract and all that stuff. If he's out of a deal in the summer and he's not playing, it's then going to be very hard for him to maybe get that new contract. So he might try and push for a move before his stock sinks, because if he's not playing regular football, and then say if he doesn't play regular football for the next 6 months and he's out of a contract in the summer, we decide not to give him a new deal, because I don't think there's the option to trigger it for a further year, then he's a free agent having not played football for 6 months, and no one really knows where his abilities are and his fitness and all that sort of stuff. So he needs to be going out and playing regular first team football, and I think Sam Stubs strikes me the type of character, not necessarily to push for a move away from the club, but someone who wants to play week in, week out. And if he's not getting that, I think he's a more than adequate, more than competent defender at League 2 level. So I could certainly see potentially Sam Stubs moving on in the January transfer window. I don't think this one is likely, but I certainly could see it. So as of right now, maybe Sam Stubs could be no longer a Bradford City player come the end of the January transfer window. If you disagree with that, let me know down in the comment section down below. I hope I've tried to get my point across there as best as possible, but let me know if you agree in the comments. Before we get into player number 4, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Get your thoughts in as well down on the comment section down below. And player number 4 is Regan Tull. Obviously, we signed him on deadline day on loan from West Bromwich Albion, and it's clear again, similar to Adam Wilson, he's not going to fit into the system that Alexander's wanting to play, and West Brom are going to be wanting to see him play week in, week out, similar to Chisholm Afoka, but I think the loans are slightly different because it's a focus first loan, and then he's just going out to really get experience. Regan Tull is now, he's a senior pro. He's 22 years of age. He's had a number of loan spells, and Tull for me has not actually been too bad. He's made 8 appearances so far for us this season, 2 starts, 1 goal and 1 assist. Both of them actually came in the same game away at Newport, and then all these substitute appearances have been hit and miss. He was subbed on and then subbed off away at Tranmere as well earlier on in the season under Mark Hughes, and I think he actually got an assist in the EFL Trophy game against Man City's under 21s a couple of weeks ago. He actually hasn't featured in a matchday squad since Graham Alexander did take over. He's not featured in a matchday squad since October, now in the middle of December, so I certainly could see Tulloch being recalled. I actually don't think he's too bad of a player. I think he could certainly go out to another League 2 club, somewhere like a Sutton United or Forest Green, someone who's maybe lower down. He might even drop down to the National League as well. I certainly don't think he's got much of a future at West Bromwich Albion, in my opinion. I don't think he's a bad player, but he just doesn't fit in at with the system we're playing at this moment, and his face doesn't really fit at Bradford City. He was one that was maybe seen as a panic signing by Mark Hughes when he realised that we do probably need to change the system and get a couple of wingers in. And Tulloch, for me, while he hasn't been awful, he's certainly not really impressed too much to deserve staying at the football club, and obviously right now he's not fitting into the system. He's not even being involved in the matchday squad, so Regan Tull for me I think will move on in the January transfer window. And the final player that we are going to discuss in today's video then is Emanuel Sadji. He sometimes has that sprinkle of Lionel Messi in there, but most of the time he just doesn't really know how to control the football, and he had a really good purple patch under Kevin McDonald. Apart from that, his Bradford City career just hasn't quite hit. It's very similar to Issa. It could be one of them where it certainly does work out at another club. Issa's scored a number of really good goals so far this season, but it just didn't work out at Bradford City. Obviously, we signed him last summer from Walsall. We paid an undisclosed fee for him, but at 27 years of age, to have scored 1 goal in 18 months, obviously, he did miss a large part of last season with a horrible injury, and that's unfortunately kind of set up how his Bradford City career has gone. It's been so frustrating, and I think there is definitely a player in Emanuel Sadji, but unfortunately he's just not showing it on a consistent basis. He's had 14 appearances so far this season, 4 starts in there, 1 goal and no assists. It's simply just not good enough, really, is it, for someone who, you know, Ryan Sparks said would have probably got 10 goals, 10 assists last season. I personally don't see that player in Emanuel Sadji. I don't think anyone really knows what his best position is, and you think about the amount of midfielders that we could potentially have going into January. You think Smallwood, McDonald, Ryan East, you've got Patterson, Walker, Chapman, Adore. So many players can play in these roles. Where does Emanuel Sadji fit in? And I've probably forgot a couple there. Obviously, you've got Alex Gilead as well. And with there being all this potential competition in there, I just don't really see where Sadji fits in, because he's so inconsistent, and out of all them options, he's probably near the bottom in my opinion, and I just think it's best for him if he does get a fresh start. We need to try and recoup some of the money that we spent on him to get him into the football club and try and get some of that back. I wish him all the best. You know, I think he's certainly a character. It seems like he's well liked in the dressing room, but in terms of his footballing ability, it hasn't really worked out during his time at Bradford City, and I think he could certainly be one who does move on in the January transfer window. Now, there could, like I mentioned at the start of the video, there could be more players who depart. I would like to anticipate there probably will be more, and definitely not less, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I am going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and 80 likes, as I said at the start of today's video, that would be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are now on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already, with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so, and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts in as well down in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts on Matt Derbyshire, Adam Wilson, Sam Stubs, Regan Tull, and also Emanuel Sadji. Do you think it's likely that all 5 of them will depart, and who else do you think could potentially leave Bradford City in this upcoming January transfer window? Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one. Peace.